Hi guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com, and we'll be doing the MMOs.com podcast episode 77. And I am joined by...
Altai?
Scumble?
Matt?
And that's it. And if you guys notice, I led the intro this time. And it was a little bit sloppy, because Altai is currently away in a secret mission in Turkey.
Secret mission, huh?
Building the tank. Receiving delivery.
The Altai
how's
tank.
that coming along?
He can't talk about it. It's secret. But this week,
Sarah's propaganda.
a lot of stuff happened this week, and we want to talk about Blizzcon. We want to talk about Gstar. But as usual, we have to start the week off with the weekly raid. I brought my gear. I brought my food. I'm rested XP. I got my dice rolls ready to roll neat on everything. Gumby, take it away.
So since we're pretty much obligated to talk about it, we're just going to bring it up right now. We're going to talk BlizzCon. We want to know what the highlight was from BlizzCon. Some of the big news items that were gone over on day one was Diablo 3 getting the Necromancer, a Diablo 1 recreation dungeon. We got the Overwatch League, which I think is some pretty big esports news, and a lot of BlizzCon focused on esports, which just shows you how much people care about it. Heroes of the Storm is still getting updates. That's nice. Hearthstone, new Hearthstone expansions bringing players back like Allure, and Sombra was finally announced. No one was surprised by that one. So I'm actually curious. We could also bring up what was most disappointing. For me, I will just say my favorite thing and the most disappointing thing was the Diablo announcement. I'm a big Diablo player. I love Diablo. And I was hoping for an expansion. We didn't get that, but I am happy to see the Necromancer coming into the game, the Diablo 2 Necromancer. So cool stuff. So roundtable discussion. Let me know what you guys think was the highlight or most disappointing.
I guess disappointment. Oh, go ahead.
I think for me the highlight was probably the Diablo 1 thing. It's cool. I mean, it's not really a huge thing, but I mean, it's neat. I mean, it's definitely gonna put a different twist on the whole Diablo 3 gameplay with the filter and the 8-directional movement. I mean, I was disappointed that there wasn't an expansion too, and I literally cringed when they said character pack. I just cringed.
You're not the only one. Like, we all cringed, I think.
I'm sitting there like, please don't just be the quote-unquote 2 characters, the male and the female, and it's like $15. I'll cry. Blizzard, I will cry. But I was actually underwhelmed as a whole. Like, I'm not a huge Blizzard fan. Like, I'm not as attached to them as everybody else is, so to see it's just more announcements to me. It's not anything that like I'm really super excited about. I mean, Sombra's cool, but you know, it's just everybody saw it coming. It was too long in the making, and I mean, I think the whole Overwatch League thing. I think they need that, but it affects me in no way whatsoever because I don't follow esports.
Matt, you didn't think the Sombra announcement was cool? The way they did it was at first. They were just going through announcements and they said we want to go a quick recap.
I thought it was cool, but I mean,
for those that didn't see it too, they were saying we're going to take a quick recap at the history of Overwatch, and they show a trailer of them working on the game in the studio, and all of a sudden, you know, the feed gets hacked by Sombra, and then her introduction video came out that way, and I thought it was really cool. I'll take it from here too. Then I think I've been a little bit disconnected from the core Blizzard games for a while. On the WoW front, I haven't played since Pandaria. On Hearthstone, I haven't played in a little while, but Hearthstone is probably the most recent. Well, Overwatch actually is the most recent game I've played. I played last night actually for the first time in a while. I actually had a lot of fun since Soldier 76 got buffed recently, and I got a chance to play him again. I won my ranked games last night. And I think I was most excited, though, for the Hearthstone expansion. I feel like I've been playing a lot of Shadowverse, and playing Shadowverse made me realize that how much fun CCGs can be again. And I played Hearthstone. I loved Hearthstone, so this could give me a reason to go back to Hearthstone. And I actually have a few friends that have been playing Shadowverse, and they flipped to Hearthstone, even though they stopped playing Hearthstone. And the reason they played Shadowverse is they got bored of Hearthstone, and they're flipping back now after they see this expansion, what's coming up next. So I'm actually excited for the new expansion in Hearthstone myself.
For me, yeah, the Hearthstone thing was pretty good. The trailer for the Hearthstone expansion, Streets of Gadgetzan, is really good. It's a really good fun trailer. It's got a little theme song. I think theme songs are very underrated. The biggest disappointment was Diablo. I remember we talked about Diablo. People said Diablo 4 was coming out. Some people said Diablo 2 was being remade, right? And all we got was a paid class, right?
Well, we got Tristan being remade, all right? Diablo 1 being remade.
I just want to throw it out there that anybody that actually expected Diablo 4 was hopeful out of their minds.
I was
mean,
hopeful. I was hopeful.
I did not expect it at all.
There was a
I-
four-sided dice. Ah!
The only thing that I expected was, like, Kotaku was dead certain that their industry source had said that StarCraft HD was coming. So, I mean, I kind of expected that, but it wasn't something I was super hyped about. So,
Well,
I mean,
the oddball.
the rumors were crazy, though.
The oddball news for me was StarCraft Deepmind. So StarCraft, Blizzard, and Google are going to work together now, and Google's going to try to make an AI, their AI Deepmind, to beat the best players in the world at StarCraft 2. I kind of was expecting this actually, but I was expecting Brood War, right? Because Brood War was more popular. But I do get why they did StarCraft 2. So because they're going to make an API now, so the computer can like read like all the old matches, like replays, and kind of teach itself how to play. And then it's got to basically beat the best players. And here's an interesting thing: they're going to lock the AI actions per minute (APM) at the level of a top player, so it won't have an APM advantage necessarily.
It's pretty cool, actually.
So do you guys think this will happen? Will the AI beat the top StarCraft players?
I think it's inevitable eventually. I mean, people thought that Watson wouldn't be able to beat the top Go player, but look what happened. So
It wasn't
I guess
Watson.
ended up
It
being-
wasn't
Deepmind.
Watson. Watson was IBM.
Deepmind, sorry, okay.
Deepmind.
It was
Watson beat
Deepmind.
Jeopardy.
All right. So Deepmind actually did beat Go, so I expect it eventually.
But these are two very different games. Remember,
It's true.
games like chess and Go are what they call perfect information, where the AI can always see everything, right? Whereas in StarCraft, there's something called fog of war. So at any minute, the AI doesn't know what to do because it can't respond because it doesn't always see what the other guy's doing, right? Whereas in chess, every time they make a move, the computer can play a billion games instantly, right? And see what the end game is. Whereas in StarCraft, it's always in flux. There's no, the AI is blind, right? It has to actually have its own strategy.
Altai, did you listen to the talk about DeepMind at BlizzCon? Because I actually want to watch it. I didn't see it yet because I'm curious to see like what level they're at right now. Like, can it do anything yet? Like, they're showing off this video, but there's nothing
it's very
here.
early, and Blizzard said they're going to make a special like API where the computer can see the game differently than humans do, right? Through like the mini map, like they want to see like the blotches of like where the units are and stuff. So already it's kind of a cheat, in my opinion, right? Because the AI is going to see a different visual than the player is.
Yeah, as long as they don't have like full map access, I think it just kind of converts like the units and stuff into colors. Like it just makes that
easier. It's the
easier.
same if the information is parallel.
Yeah.
It's the same information, right? Yeah, and it will have fog of war, yes.
It's just the way that they're. I think they looked at it as, what are you supposed to do? Have the camera scan over so that it can see everything that it can see every time? Like,
I want a camera facing a screen, and then the AI moving the mouse.
Imagine the processing power that would take, though. To like take the picture, look at all these shapes, and like figure out what they are in real time as it's scanning over the entire map. That would take so much processing
I think
power.
you can convert it pretty easily. Just the colors, like that's a different discussion. But I think, what do you guys think about like in the future if this does work? And because it's gonna be inevitably, if in like 2 years, let's say, DeepMind, Google's AI engine can play StarCraft professionally, beat the pros. Do you think like the esports scene would be like kind of crippled if like let's say 5 years from now, 6 years from now, every pro game, League, Overwatch, CS:GO is just dominated by computers? And do you think we'll ever reach a point?
Be allowed in.
But do you think we'll ever reach a point where there'll be a parallel league where Google runs an AI, Microsoft runs an AI, I run an AI, and we all enter a tournament together of just like 5 AIs, and whoever's AI is better wins?
That'd be cool.
I think that won't be the problem. This will be the problem. Imagine I'm playing Overwatch at home, right? I download a program, I just run it, and then I open Overwatch, right? And then guess what? It just plays for me, and then I beat everyone. And I'm not cheating either. I'm not hacking. I'm just.
But they can detect that. They can detect that as a cheat.
Can they?
I don't think they're going to have a league like that. I think if that happens, it's going to be something that's a separate entity because, I mean, people watch it for players, not for like machines to be playing it. I mean, it's cool, but it's not like BattleBots. People are controlling the robots.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still people.
But I think if I see like let an AI be amazing at StarCraft, it's really gonna ruin the competitive scene for me. It's like, yeah, because when I see it, yeah, it does. I'm telling you, if I see a computer can beat it, it kind of ruins it. I mean, not
They
so
better
much in
start taking
chess,
depression medication
because
now,
chess
though.
was always a perfect information game, was different, and computers have beaten humans at chess forever. But I feel like it would really ruin esports to see, like, I want to cheer for my favorite players, and I want to know that they're the best. And if they're being beaten by computers, it cheapens
But
experience.
let me ask
personally.
you a question, though. The fact that computers can perform computations faster than mathematicians, does that undermine the mathematician?
No, it's different in mathematics and chess because these are perfect information games, as I said. Whereas, like, in my mind, like, you can't even compare chess to Starcraft or Overwatch or any real game where there's so much more information coming in and imperfect information, and, like, every little stutter matters. There's so much more going on.
Of a difference.
I do think though we're more than 2 years out for this. Like
At least, yeah.
the StarCraft 2 thing, I think will a long time for the computer to beat people. And it's always you always feel like the idiot, right? If you make this kind of prediction, but I'll do it anyway. At least 10 years before Deepmind can beat
Really?
StarCraft 2. Yep.
No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say basically 6 months after they complete it.
Whoa.
Wow. So we have two.
That is optimistic. I don't think Alta is.
We have optimism and complete cynicism here. But I do want to make one point.
Well, I mean, of course,
mentioned
that is contingent on how often they test it. I just wanted to throw that out there.
You're saying once they actually like get the software going, right?
Yeah, once they've got it going, and if they do regular testing and not just like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
this tournament's happening now, so we'll test it here.
Mhm.
Not that. Like, assuming they do it regularly.
Let me add one point. Somebody mentioned in chat that the AI in these RTS games sometimes cheats. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the stock AI, which, when you make it harder, sometimes they just start with more money or they build faster, right?
Mhm.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about a third-party AI playing as if it's a player, not like the built-in AI cheating when you put it on hard mode, right? So that's two totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually showing a video in the background of how a neural net learns and plays Mario. It honestly doesn't make any sense to me. It looks quite confusing, but you see some stuff happening in the background. It looks very interesting, but I really can't decode this. I'll tell you. I think you've seen this video too. Any chance you can decode it for us?
But real quick, is it weird that I'm actually less amazed by the neural net going on and more fascinated by watching Mario in slow mo?
Maybe.
Well, so the trick here is the computer goes into a blind. That's a cool thing about DeepMind versus like AI written for the game like Starcraft. So what it does here is it doesn't know anything. So it starts the game, it just pushes buttons, right?
Mhm.
And the further it gets, it keeps that information and then tries something new every time.
So you're seeing it
So
right
it
now. This
dies off-
actually, the video in the background is he just died. His first move, as soon as the game begins, he moves right, and he tracks what happens. And he realizes if you just move right like an idiot, you're gonna die. And he knows when he dies, and he makes adjustments.
Yeah. So that compares to like the AI in like built in with StarCraft or Age of Empires, where they kind of have a set plan at the beginning and they cheat. Like if you guys ever watch especially older
Age of
ones, like
Empires and stuff, yeah.
You watch them with the fog of war turned off and you put the computer on hard, it'll build like a castle like in 3 hits. Whereas it takes you like 2 minutes,
Yeah, it just cheats.
So this is it just cheats to keep up with you. So this is totally different.
All right, but this is not an AI podcast. This is an MMOs podcast, guys. This is an interesting discussion. I think it's going to cheapen the esports experience for me. But while we're on the topic of esports, I do want to talk about that Overwatch League. When they showed off that video on BlizzCon, it was kind of cringy when they mentioned the guy's name was Crusher99. What was up with that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. That's
But
right.
what was funny about that is, do you think? I feel like when they release this video, it's gonna give people a lot of hope about like being a pro Overwatch player. I feel like
Anything wrong with that?
I almost feel like even with how popular the league has become and the LCS on the esports scene, it seems like so many people want to chase that esports dream, and like I want people to have that hope, but like it is so hard to make it as an esports professional. And this is going to sell the dream to so many people. How many people are going to drop out of college to pursue this dream, you think? How many lives is Blizzard ruining indirectly?
No, it's
Yeah.
gonna end
No
up being the
more
same
than
thing as
that.
baseball or
That's
football
what
or
I was
anything
going to
else.
say. That's
And
what I was
how
gonna
many
say.
people do you know already? Because I know we can both name a few people who they're already chasing the esports dream before before Blizzard made this announcement. Anyone who's going to listen to that BlizzCon announcement, if they have aspirations for esports, they had them before Blizzard formed the MLB of esports, the Overwatch League.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool, actually. I mean, it seems like the natural trajectory, right? Now I wonder what other games will follow suit.
And I mean, I don't remember if I've said this to you guys, but like, I think it's interesting that this is finally happening because with sports, anyone could make a league. Like the sport isn't like the intellectual property of somebody, so anyone could have gotten together. Like some rich guy could have started like the MLB of baseball, you know, because and yes, I realize that comparison, it is baseball, but you can't do that with this because of the intellectual properties involved.
But you had people like you had people like ESL doing like tournaments for Overwatch. They didn't own the IP, but they still held tournaments for
No,
it.
but I mean, it can't be. It's not the same thing. You like really have to have the involvement of the original developers. So it's
you
interesting
can't
to see
change
how
the
much
rules the way
difference.
MLB can.
Yeah, okay, that's true. You can't change the rules. That's true.
Like they have no control over the game that they play.
Yeah.
It's just. I just think it's interesting to see that it's finally happening because like it's showing that developers actually want to invest directly into the esports market rather than indirectly, and or at least Blizzard does. And it will be interesting to see if other developers follow suit because of the like all the different money that has to go into this. Like they have to really pull players to their league instead of some other ones. They have to provide them with some sort of benefits and security, and they have to ensure that they're not going to get scammed like so many do. And I mean, it's going to be really, really interesting to see if anybody else picks up on this.
I mean, the only other comparable is the way Riot handles LCS, because they do player contracts directly with the players, and they pay them directly, and they have to ensure a minimum standard. But these are the only two big companies doing this right now, and like directly, I guess, paying players. I think some details are still coming out for this. And I do want to say, Altai did call something about this earlier. This is revolving around major cities. So I know Altai was saying the way it's going to work is they're going to give like licenses to like a team in one city or a team in another city. So I think they're trying to do that with the Overwatch League.
That's the only way to make people invested. Like when I watch Starcraft or League, the team names don't mean anything to me, right? Like it could be like the Digital Foundry, like Dignitas, whatever. Yeah. But if it's like New York Photons, right? Oh, it's New York. You know, at least I can relate to it. You know,
yeah,
oh, my team.
I live in New York. It's my team. It's my boys.
Yeah, it's exactly. But if it's just like Axiom or Digital Home, it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, yeah.
Good point.
A few teams have brands, right? A very few. But for most people, the vast majority of these esports teams just mean nothing. They're just words. It's good that they're making. Yeah.
So can we predict that in the future, all these various leagues and teams are going to be consolidated into city-based teams and whatnot and leagues rather than what we have now?
Yeah,
I think so, actually, because again, I think Alta makes a good point. If it's a New York Dignitas, people are going to care about what Dignitas means. I mean, Dignitas and like Cloud9, all the big teams today, they do have some brand recognition, but it's never going to reach mainstream audiences unless it's like the New York something or the LA something, because then people will care more about it.
Absolutely.
I think. Remember,
go ahead.
We are still in very early days of this esports stuff. Like I was reading the Blizzard earnings report. Blizzard itself made over 300 million operating profit. Activision 120, King 138. The only part of Activision Blizzard that lost money was the other segment, which includes
esports,
MLG,
right?
Yeah, esports. Yeah. And it's so negligible at this point. Where I think, Omar, what you said earlier at the beginning is right. That trailer was selling a lot of hype, right? Like it's basically advertising at this point, the whole esports stream.
But if you look at the super data numbers, it is growing quickly. Obviously, everything starts off small, and it's growing very quickly year over year.
Yeah, I just gotta say I'm still skeptical. We're in early days. This is still like the single-digit millions in revenue / profit / loss for Blizzard. So we'll see where it goes from here.
All right, and guys, I gotta throw this in there. I think what was interesting about BlizzCon was perhaps what was not said, because there was some. We talked about the drama earlier with Nostalrius, and I do want to bring this in there because Nostalrius specifically said that if legacy servers were not announced at BlizzCon, that they would do something about it. And that something is here. Gumby, you want to take this? Because you were tweeting about this earlier.
Sure. Yeah, I actually did tweet at Nostalrius the day before and said, "Where's your announcement?" And they responded and they said tomorrow. So I feel like I motivated Nostalrius to open their mouths, but I really didn't. Basically, what happened was Nostalrius finally did the right thing. Childish action or not, or premature, but they did the right thing. They're releasing the source code. And what's happening is, if you don't already know, there's another private server that already existed called Elysium. Some of the Nostalrius volunteers already work at Elysium, or they're volunteering there. And Nostalrius has already given Elysium the source code, who are then supposed to release it publicly, along with some type of instructions that other people can run their own vanilla servers. But basically, also what's happening is all that Nostalrius player data still exists, and Elysium is getting it. And in 3 weeks' time, approximately, Elysium will be launching 3 servers. The original PvP and PvE server from Nostalrius, with all of your characters and data still intact, and a new Fresh Realm server. So now Elysium is the big dog vanilla server. Blizzard has not responded. There was an article on IGN that said Blizzard's still, mulling over legacy servers, but this is what I wanted to happen all along. The only thing I need to see happen next is Elysium needs to make that source code public. If they monopolize that, I'll be very disappointed. But so far, things are looking good. But that's basically the gist there.
Do you think Blizzard can do anything about this?
I think the smart PR move for Blizzard is to do absolutely nothing. Keep your mouth shut. Say we're still mulling over legacy servers. Elysium has also said if Blizzard came out with legacy servers, they would fully support it. They want to see legacy servers. I personally don't want to see Blizzard. I would rather see the community run it. But
when they would say they would fully support it, do you mean they would actually shut down?
It's unclear. It's ambiguous. I don't know if that means they would actually shut it down, or they're just showing their support for a Blizzard-run legacy server.
They said there's no shop here either. That's pretty impressive.
It's part of the agreement that Nostalrius made with Elysium is that Elysium would never monetize the private server.
Wow.
It would always be voluntary. It was in the agreement that if they ever chose to do it, Nostalrius would never have given them the source code or rescind it. Not that makes any sense, but essentially that's what's going on here. It's some pretty big news. I know a lot of people are pretty excited to see it come back. Other people feel this is an insult to Blizzard. Even in comment sections I've been reading and whatnot. But
the whole insult to Blizzard thing, if you really want to go that far, the whole thing was an insult to Blizzard. You're telling them that their game wasn't good enough and you have to bring back the old one. But it's only if you're going that far.
Sure.
I mean, I feel like they jumped the gun. Like, okay, so, and the real reason that I really can push the idea that they jumped the gun, or that I feel like they did, they tweeted hours before the announcement. Look at the 300,000 signatures we got on they want vanilla servers. And then a few hours later, completely threw all that work that they put together out the window. This has killed a lot of the chance of official vanilla happening. And I feel like that's against what they were trying to do in the first place, which bothers me because they went against what they said they were going to do for the community, which was release the source code originally, solely because they wanted it as a bargaining chip with Blizzard. Then as soon as Blizzard didn't do exactly what they wanted when they wanted, they went back on that. And it just seems very petulant to me. And I'm very glad that they're handing the server off to someone else, because after this, I'm not sure that I'd personally trust them. Their consistency is way all over the place.
The only part I think they were inconsistent and bad about was the fact that they should release the source code day one. Don't even talk to Blizzard. Release. I said this the first time the Nostalrius
I said
happened.
it then too.
Okay, they should have followed through and released the source code. It was a dishonesty to everyone that worked on the source code, because they were told from the get-go they would release the source code. But Matt, I'm going to disagree with you. I think this actually could be this could actually lead to vanilla servers eventually, provided, let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say this Elysium Nostalrius server gets a crazy number of concurrent users, an absolutely mind-blowing number. Don't you think that signals to Blizzard, wait a minute, there's something here. People want this.
Don't you think that Nostalrius would have done that already if they were ever going to have that signal?
But Nostalrius was booming. They were shut down while they were booming. They never had a chance to fully grow into themselves. They basically cut off the butt early on that one. And these guys are in Russia. These guys are in Russia, and they can be protected by so
by Putin.
Protected by Putin, all right?
But I think shit, I lost my train of thought.
I think the big news, the best part of this whole story is the fact that people who had characters on Nostalrius, right? Those characters are saved now on the new server,
Yeah, I'm very happy to see that too.
That's hundreds of hours for people.
You know what's funny that you say that? A lot of people that are from Nostalrius, a lot of them are actually going to be playing on the Fresh Realm server. It's funny. People are hungrier to start fresh on a stable vanilla server than they are to repeat what they did before, which just shows you the allure, I guess, of people who want to play vanilla. It's about the leveling experience and the capped experience. So
I maintain there's a chance if
Oh.
this does amazing, it can eventually possibly lead to of a legacy service for the pure business sake of it. If the numbers are behind it, Blizzard has an obligation to their shareholders to do this. It's a business decision, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, what I was going to say, the other reason I feel like it's more petulant than anything, and that they're not really thinking through what they're doing, is that they came out and said in the announcement that they wanted to reunite the vanilla community, while simultaneously releasing the source code so that dozens of servers can come up within minutes and fracture it.
Mhm.
It just,
That won't happen.
but it will. It always
No,
happens.
It won't. That does not always happen. Just like with Ragnarok Online private servers, 1 server, 2 servers, 3 servers sit on top, and the rest get by.
Yes.
The entire private server economy balances out very quickly based on either administration or stability or whatever. Those things always balance out.
Everyone wants to play on the
But
server
is
with
it
their friends. They
contradictory?
all
Is
play
it-
on the same server. There's like the top 2 servers take up 90% market share, and everyone just fights for the crumbs.
But it is a contradictory message.
I don't think so. I think when they say they want to unite the private server community, I don't know. Maybe the word "unite" was wrong.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think they
wrong
should-
choice of words.
They
I
should
agree.
use the word "support." That's what I think they meant. Because you can misconstrue "unite" and think because what you're saying to me sounds like it's the exact opposite of what supporting the private server community would be, which would be to monopolize it for their own benefit. Whereas the whole idea of it should be to disperse as far and wide as possible so it can't be destroyed.
That's the benefit of being spread wide too. You know, you can shut down a few of them. But I love the move that Elysium is based out of Russia. We all
Yeah,
know
me
that
too.
Actually, I've seen a number of people say that it's not the lawless lands of copyright-free.
it's not
Well,
lawless.
That's China.
Everybody says it is.
China.
That's China maybe, but it's not
Yeah.
completely lawless. But it's much harder to enforce copyrights internationally, and that seems obvious. I think if you're in Western Europe, it's pretty easy to enforce copyright laws. If you're in Russia, if you're in some parts of Africa, it is very difficult. And in fact, there are Russian web hosts that specifically say we don't list the copyright claims for America. We will literally throw out the DMCA's out the window. We protect your shit, and then that's their marketing gimmick. So it's possible these guys are hosting through one of those services.
I haven't verified it, but somebody had said that Elysium is hosting through the exact same company that Nostalrius was.
We'll see. I mean, I think they're gonna play it safe. They're gonna make sure they don't get shut down, and especially after the last dilemma, they're gonna
sure,
play.
I mean-
yeah.
I mean, I just want to make it clear. I have no problem with them releasing the source code. I don't really like the way they did it. I mean, it just feels weird. Something about this feels off.
They should release it publicly. I agree on that bit.
I have
I'll
no
tell you why
problem
they
with
did
private
that.
servers, and I think that vanilla needs to survive because there are people that want to play it, and Blizzard clearly is like pittering along behind.
Man, you know why they did
pretending
this
they're
right
gonna get
now?
there.
I'll tell you why they did this and why they decided, even if they knew it was childish of them, and if that's true at all, this is why they did it. There was a ton of all of the momentum to have Nostalrius, to have legacy servers, was wrapped up in BlizzCon with that announcement.
Mhm.
The fact that they made this announcement now gives them the most momentum to carry forward. It gives them the most advertising ability through just like people like us talking about it. If this happened at any other time outside of BlizzCon, they would not be generating the same interest. So they're piggybacking to jumpstart Elysium. That's all it is. I think, at least.
All right. I mean,
By the way, just because I said it in chat, there's supposed to be an AMA on November 13th on Reddit's WoW servers with the administrators of Elysium, where they're going to announce the server names. They're going to announce which server will launch first, whether it's the Nostalrius PvP server or the Fresh Start server. So we'll have more information then.
Yeah. All right. That's
And
enough.
we should also say that real quick, they did estimate I've read comments saying they estimated that at the very least it'll be about 3 weeks from the that it'll
Yep.
be up at the very least.
All right. And with that, I want to take it to no, either we take it to Revelation Online. Let's take it to Revelation Online. We've all played some Revelation Online this last week. We did for Sunday Fun Day as well. I think Altai missed out on that one, but it's worth talking about because it's a pretty big launch. And in fact, I think we were all impressed by at least one fact about the game: the fact that we saw so many people in the game. I mean, the game was hyped. The servers were packed. People running around everywhere. Let's do a quick roundtable recap of our experience with Revelation Online, because we did talk a lot about it Sunday Fun Day, but we'll do a quick roundtable recap. I guess Matt or Gumby, one of you want to take it first?
All right, so since it was quiet, See, I think that the easiest way I can put it is it's janky. It's just janky. Movement did not feel right to me, and the best way I can describe it is it's kind of like, what is that sound?
I'll tell you in the background. All right, janky is we got from Matt.
Yeah, so the best way I can put it is it's kind of like your character's made of paper. They just kind of float around like awkwardly, and every now and then they'll get caught on something and then just like get blown forward out of nowhere. And it doesn't tell you, like, it doesn't give you enough notification that you don't have enough levity or that you can't do this action. There are no timers on your dodges. You just kind of have to guess. A lot of the game doesn't explain itself, and I know this because I haven't even seen like a whole lot of tooltips that weren't translated. Out of all the things that were, the tooltips were mostly translated, unless like literally everything was just hidden in dialogue that was unrelated. It just doesn't tell you a lot of this stuff up to at least like 35, because I hit 35 and I still had never heard anything about the professions and stuff and the gathering and the crafting and all that. And
all right, Matt, I've cut you off. We have a MMOs.com podcast breaking news alert. Thanks to a fallen 567. Bless.areagames.com website is down, no longer exists.
Oh boy,
is that?
Oh, you're right.
And remember, areagames.com itself is still available, as you can see right here. However, the Bless landing page is 503, service unavailable.
Time to tweet at Area Games.
Now, is it quick speculation? Do you think they're abandoning it?
Yes.
I thought they were abandoning it from the beginning. I told you guys.
Yes, you were negative. Yeah, you were true. You called at the beginning that it wasn't going to happen because of the merger, even though they said specifically that the merger would not affect it. But I feel like you usually say stuff like that when the merger will affect it.
I want to think I was on that too.
I'll tell you, your mic just got really loud. If you can take a look at it.
Sorry.
And then again, when they said they were delaying it because of the combat and the optimization issues, but the Russian company went ahead and published it anyways, I called it again. I'm just saying, it's dead. It's gone.
On the positive side, anyone that wants to play Revelation will probably be able to do so on the Russian version. There will probably be English patch available for the Russian version at one point, and if not there will be a community to be able to access the Korean version as well. I think probably the Russian version is going to be the go-to, assuming there is no IP block, but we'll find out more when that goes into open beta. But yeah.
Well, is my mic better?
I can turn it down manually, but no, it's still loud.
Yeah. Ooh. What about now?
Better. Back to Revelation Online. Gumby, you played a decent chunk too. Actually, I streamed last night, and you both hopped in with me too. So
I am actually still playing Revelation Online. I'm still getting all my thoughts together, but and I think it's unfair to give a final judgment yet because this is a closed beta test. It's a very rough closed beta with 3 or 4 different languages competing in tooltips and quests and NPCs and whatnot. I think it's not going to be the polished MMORPG or the go-to for anybody when it does release as of right now. I think a lot of the game is lost because it's extremely convoluted, and I think the new player experience is very unkind, where much of the game consists of just talking to NPCs and doing very minor tasks for quests, so it gives a very bad first impression. But when you're in the combat, even though it has this off-putting quality to it, I'm really enjoying it. Only really as the Blade Master, though. A lot of the classes just don't feel smooth. There's no connection with your attacks. But there is something redeeming here, and it is also very pretty, and exploring the world has been very rewarding. But as of right now, I give it a pass, and we got to really wait till this next closed beta and see if they polish it. Also, the amount of CPU leaking going on with this game is ridiculous. It really needs some hefty optimization before it will ever garner any attention.
Gumby, don't you know that's intentional? That's actually the Chinese government spyware hacking our Western computers to obviously rig the election. Boom.
Good, they know I'm loyal.
So they all connect. Over. They all connect. All right.
Perfect.
I think I had a pretty okay experience. I think somebody specifically asked me straight up, "Are you having fun in the closed beta?" It was a rough question to answer, but the thing is, the fact that I decided to play it again and stream it kind of gives it a yes, because I didn't have to play that game. I had to stream that game. Something got me back to it. And I think the reasoning behind that is we haven't had any big Chinese MMORPG launches in a while, and Chinese games client-based games are distinctly different than their Korean counterparts. Play a game like Perfect World, it's nothing like the Korean games we've played. So because it's a little bit different, that alone I think got people interested, and it kind of drove you to explore the game, because the world. There was a lot to see, and it was still, the closed beta was obviously very rough because of translations, but I was having fun. It was interesting. However, I gave it a lot of passes personally because it was closed beta. If the game launched as is without fixing all their the optimization problems mainly, and some of the UI stuff, and if they launched as is, it'd be pretty awful. But because it's closed beta, it gets a pass. I'm looking forward to playing the next round of closed beta myself. I'll thought you missed out on that one.
I missed out, and I guess the only thing I can contribute is I tried to download the game here in Turkey, and it was 15 gigs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And my internet here was being throttled for other reasons at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was downloading at 2 megabytes per second. So basically, I couldn't download it in time. So file size still matters in the third world here. So optimization. Like League of Legends is pretty small. A lot of these RuneScape and stuff, like small file size can go a long way.
Mm-hmm. All right.
We tried guessing. Just to put it there. Also, we tried guessing if you would love or hate it. None of us could decide.
Honestly,
It
after
could go
Crush
either way.
Online, I've lost my ability to read your thought process. Right? I thought I had you figured out until Crush Online.
No idea.
And you
no
told me
idea.
Crush Online was a good game. After that, I can't read your thought process anymore. But taking a step from Revelation Online, I want to bring a little controversial / interesting discussion. I had a pretty heated debate with Shu, actually, I think 2 nights ago, about because we were talking about Shadowverse, and we were talking about what makes a game better. I mean, it's a very stupid argument in its premise, but I'm curious to see where you guys stand. First, I want to lay my point down, and you guys can tell me if you guys think I'm wrong. Because I said, for example, I said Hearthstone was a better game. Personally, I think I enjoy Hearthstone more, but beyond what I just enjoy, I said it was objectively a better game. And I said my definition of a better game. It may be a bit controversial / stupid, but let me just explain it, and you guys can tell me where you guys think I'm wrong. A better game, in my mind, is a game that creates more units of fun. And the way I measure units of fun is a game's player base times average number of hours played. Typically, the more you play a game, typically the more fun it is. It's creating more fun. I think the objective of a game is for players to have fun. This is not really a business. It's not really economical or business look either, because they are freeware games that create a lot of fun. So that's my definition of a better game. I said Hearthstone has more players, more people playing, times the average number of hours played, results in more hours of fun. Thus, Hearthstone is a better game. And I want to make a distinction that a better game does not mean a game I might like Shadowverse better, and I can still say Hearthstone is a better game. So these two ideas don't have to always agree with each other. I can still dislike the better game and prefer something else. You guys tell me if I'm wrong.
I can cancel this out right now.
Have at it.
I had no fun at all during a lot of the time that I played Black Desert. Like a lot of it. Like there
You
were
played
really
a lot
fun
though.
moments.
You played a lot though.
No, wait. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I spent 8 hours a day some days grinding, and I had no fun during that. But I was motivated to do it for the guild. It was not fun, but it was a social activity.
You don't
that I
think
took
you were having
part in.
fun, but clearly you were. You had
No.
you didn't have to play it, Matt.
No.
Matt, you had all these games in front of you, right? But you chose to play Black Desert for your guild's sake, right?
It's different when you have
Matt,
other
you put
people
the guild ahead of your own personal needs. So you
That
did it
doesn't
for
mean
your
I'm
guild.
having fun.
No, you would have done it then. You did it for your guild. Helping your guild gave you some sense of accomplishment and purpose, some positive impact within you.
That doesn't equate to fun.
Units of self-satisfaction, whatever you want to call it. All right, it's a mix of fun and
That
self-satisfaction.
doesn't equate to fun.
Yeah, Matt, you didn't have to play it. You played it. Bada bing, bada boom. And somebody
Also,
mentioned.
by your definition, wait, this is going to be
Go
even
for it.
better. League of Angels 2
Yes.
and League of Angels are some of the best games on the market
Yes.
right now.
Yes, I'll tell you why. Look, I don't like those games. Personally, I wouldn't play them. They're not my favorite games. But yes, they are. And somebody actually mentioned Candy Crush as well. And I don't play Candy Crush. I think it's just a Bejeweled clone. It's pretty boring. But there is no doubt in my mind that games like Candy Crush, they bring such joy into people's lives. I have cousins and older relatives in Turkey, for example. They sit home on their iPads. These are 70-year-old people, and they play Candy Crush all day. This game brings joy to their life where otherwise they'd be mind-numbed on the TV. But they play Candy Crush. So I think Candy Crush brings a lot of fun to people. Not me, and I don't like the game, but I can still recognize it brings a lot of fun to a lot of people in the world, as do games like League of Angels. And I think the moment you dismiss that fact that, oh, it's a stupid game, all those people are playing it, it is an insult to the players playing those games, because those players have an option to play any game they want that's free, whatever's
I'm
available in
not
their country,
saying that
and they
they
choose
don't-
to play League of Angels.
I'm not saying.
Are they
can't
wrong?
have fun.
Are they
I'm
wrong
just saying-
to play League of
I'm not
Angels?
saying that they can't have fun, and I'm not saying they're wrong to play it. I'm saying you're saying that it is objectively a better game than like most games on the market right now.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Uh,
I think
wait.
it's the first time I agree with Omar on something that controversial.
Oh, you agree with my logic?
Yes, I agree with your logic.
Okay, so I had a very in-depth discussion with Shu as well. She's talking about the design elements, and I think the beauty of my argument is it encompasses everyone else's arguments in a very simple way. You know, if you personally prefer a game and you think it's well designed and you play it, right? The beauty of my argument is my argument encompasses your feelings because the number of hours you play your favorite game is included in my metric of what's a better game. Because if you like a game more, you'll play that game more anyway. And if you think this game is better designed, you'll play it. Just like the people that play Candy Crush think they like that game. And somebody mentioned to advertise. Go ahead.
The easiest mistake to make, right, is to find something you like, and then start that from the basis, and then equate that with good design, good choices.
I cannot agree more, and that was the problem I had when talking about Shadowverse with Shu. She loves the art style in Shadowverse, right? Because it's an anime art style. Shu likes that. I mean, she's very particular with the game's presentation and art style, and then she would write off Hearthstone because it's a Western game, doesn't have the same look and feel and the anime characters, right? It didn't do it for her, and I think she took it from that position as why Shadowverse was a better game, and I think it's because you equate what you like.
And another problem, like with Hearthstone, currently there's one card, right, that kind of makes things really wonky at the high end for Hearthstone, very random, right? And so many people grab onto that and say, "Oh, Hearthstone is a bad game," where that really only affects 1% of players that play competitively, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they somehow equate that with bad design, and they find all these other faults with the game at that point. And then when something new comes up, like the Shadowverse, they all jump on that.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I could tell Hearthstone was a better game in the first 5 seconds. When I dragged the card, okay, to play it, boom, I could just tell Hearthstone was a better game right there. Because Shadowverse, it was buggy, it was weird, it just felt weird. Hearthstone felt much tighter, just based on that alone.
But Omer, here's the other thing, because your metric
Yeah.
it factors in how many people are playing. I've said it before, and it will never not be true. Making a good game is not the only thing you need anymore. Like League of Angels and games like that, even though I despise their marketing tactics, they have great marketing, and they get a lot of people through their marketing. And not every company can afford to do that. So you have good games that may have had higher ratings that are like taken down a notch because of marketing or because of their visibility on the Steam store. It's just they're infinitely different amounts of like factors that come into this other than how much, like how many people play it, how much.
I don't buy that marketing argument. I've heard it a million times. Every time a game fails, oh, they had the wrong marketing. Oh, this publisher didn't market it enough. No, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, all right? Shitty games, doesn't matter how much they get marketed, are gonna suck. No matter how much money you throw at a Crush Online, it's gonna be a loser, all right? I think the good games get more marketing because there's something worth marketing, something there. And perhaps I don't understand what people see in League of Angels.
Get more marketing.
Yes.
What do you have to say about Daikatana then? All right.
I don't know what that is. What is Daikatana?
You don't remember that John Romero's going to make you his bitch advertising campaign?
Was it successful? I don't know.
Yeah, it like convinced a bunch of people to buy a shitty first-person shooter.
Good. You're looking at sales now. Sales don't matter. The thing is, marketing can bring people in, but if the game sucks, they won't play for more than an hour or 10 minutes. My metric clearly looks at average concurrent users multiplied by average time played. If a guy tries a game and it sucks, they're not going to play it anymore.
But all they have to do for them to keep playing it just has to work, and it has to hook them. It doesn't have to be phenomenal. It doesn't have to be a good game. It literally just has to work and be polished.
No, Matt, the problem is your logic is insulting the intelligence of the people playing these games. You think the people that play League of Angels or the John Romero game, they're doing it because they're dumb and they got bought by the marketing.
I'm not saying they're dumb. I'm saying they chose a game that is maybe not the best one because that's the one they decided to stick with.
You'd be surprised how many games that probably the average League of Angels player has played. They probably jump through a lot of games and decide, hey, this is the one I'm having the most fun in, and they'll play that one. And people that play, any game, they typically have. Like, we've all played lots of games, okay? I think everyone on this podcast has played a boatload of MMOs, right? But we all have in the back of our minds a handful of games that we always go back to. We have all these choices in front of us, but we always go back to a certain few. We've tried a lot, but we just we for whatever reason we like that game, and that's why that. And also if you look at the games that are most played today, we have the top 10 most successful MMORPGs. Like those games are typically not bad. You don't see that many awful games with a lot of players. It doesn't happen that often.
I just gotta say, the whole when Matt was talking about Black Desert, it kind of reminds me of those Steam reviews where a guy has like 1,000 hours played, and then he leaves a negative review.
Yes, come on! I don't buy that. I hate when I see that because if you got 1,000 hours of fun, I don't care about your opinion at that point. You enjoyed the game. You got your money's worth.
I still don't get how you guys can play MMOs and still not see is that it could have changed and they could have hated the new thing and not the entire game. Like how it changed. Like all the new content could be meaningless and boring.
Well, they should put that in the top then. The first sentence should be, "This is a review of the current patch" or something, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them do that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair then. But a lot of people say, after careful evaluation, this game isn't worth it. It's a lot of grind. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, dude, you played for 1,000 hours. You had fun. You know, whether you want to admit it or not.
And that's why I want to take away the business side away from this. I know because Shu kept criticizing me for looking at an economic way. Because games like No Man's Sky, they sell a lot of copies, right? And then you could say it's super successful. That disproves you. But no, what matters is the number of how often people play and the number of hours they play too. And that kind of gets rid of all the bullshit frauds where they lie and cheat to get these sales, and they advertise a shit ton to get lots of money. That's why the money side is really not that important because I think again fundamentally games are to bring people are to be fun. And when you start analyzing like, oh, this mechanic is stupid, this mechanic is good, that comes out to when you start analyzing that, everything comes down to what your personal opinion is. And I can't emphasize enough. I may like Shadowverse more than I like Hearthstone, but I think it's okay for me to say Hearthstone is a better game. And there are plenty of examples where like War Mode is I would say it is an objectively awful game. However, I played that game more than I want to admit, all right? Sadly. I got a lot of hours out of a pretty awful, objectively bad game. I had fun with it though. So it's okay to like a game and prefer a game to one that's quote unquote better. I think another problem by definition is I feel the word better kind of offends people. Because like, oh, how can you say my favorite game is not the best?
I just don't know if you're measuring fun.
Also,
okay, I think Omer and I have a broader definition of fun. Like
I think you need to have because I think people misconstrue what you're saying, and you do need to take a broad approach because it's not like when I'm playing a game I'm having fun. It's not like I feel fun. Like you know how sometimes fun is hard to narrow down, but unless you take a very broad approach.
Okay, if you're playing a game for the community or to help your guild, right? You're having fun, in my opinion.
Or how about this? I'm playing Overwatch, right? I really love Overwatch. I put in at least half of my hours in Overwatch are actually out of frustration, right? I'm frustrated with my team, but I still enjoy the game. It's just I think we just need to be careful when we use the word fun because it doesn't mean like you're constantly amused. It just means like in general, in the overall experience, when you take it away, you had fun.
People don't play a game unless they're masochists. They don't play a game unless they're having fun. You have to understand that basic premise. People choose to play games for fun.
No. People don't play games because they're having fun. People play games to have fun.
Yes,
I think there's a
to have fun,
there.
and they choose that game for a reason.
People play games in the pursuit of fun, and sometimes they're just kind of complacent and satiated, but they're not really like having fun.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But they chose to play that game to get their insatience to do something. You know, they chose that game.
But a lot of it, there's too many factors. As in, like they're saying,
There's
in
always
chat,
too many factors.
there are a lot of people that just play games to play with a friend, not specifically because they like that game. They chose that game because their friend chose that game.
Sure.
But they're playing it because their friend chose that game, not because they.
But ultimately, they chose that game, and some other friend chose a different game, and it all equals out in the end. Also, I'm going to address a comment somebody just made. Somebody asked, is Crossfire a better game than World of Warcraft because 500 million Chinese players with PCs from 15 years ago are playing it? See, the problem with that argument is, first of all, I don't know if there's more, the concurrent player base times average hours played in Crossfire is more than WoW. However, if we assume it is true, to dismiss the fun of 500 million Chinese players is almost like racist. Like, is their fun less valuable than your fun? I think...
What a strong rebuttal.
No, because... Ultimately, people play games to have fun. If 500 million people are playing Crossfire instead of the literally hundreds of other games available in China, many of which are also low-spec games, they're having fun. It is reaching its objective. Unless you think a game's goal is something beyond fun. I think ultimately people play games to have fun. If you have different like definitions of like why people want to play games, that's different. I think people play games to have fun, and the only way to measure which game is better is by which game achieves that objective more.
I also think that
you know what's funny though, in order to factor in your equation and what kind of disputes the whole argument that was just made is just the fact like you have to have access to that game too. I don't know how that would factor in, but it's not like if I don't have the opportunity to play something, then you can't really draw a comparison at that point.
I want to bounce up what Omer just said.
Go ahead.
So many people, right? When I was growing up, right? The cool kids played like WoW, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like,
you were one of them, weren't you?
So many people trashed the RuneScape players, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, RuneScape's not a real game. It's like it's browser, it's shit, you know? But in fact, RuneScape today is more complicated, more intricate, more in depth than 90% of MMOs, right?
Yeah, I would say there's a lot more going on with RuneScape than most games today.
More freedom in RuneScape.
People just shit on it because it was browser, because, you know. And the same mentality today, like Candy Crush, right? Just because somebody's playing and having fun, people like, you know, I guess some PC Master Race people, like, just shit on it, right? Like, haha, he's an idiot, he's having fun with that. It just shows he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I mean, you're bringing up another point, though. That's part of that's especially prevalent in this industry, which you can see in any gaming forum, which is it's fun to shit on other games, right or wrong about it.
No, here's what it comes down to: it's not a real game. My game.
I hate that argument too.
See, it worked with people use it on RuneScape. People are using it on mobile.
But Aaron, remember
like Crossfire.
Who was doing that? It was kids that you went to high school with.
Everyone does it.
I'm just not ready to commit to the idea that just because people are playing it, it's the most fun game they could be playing at that time.
Again, that argument assumes that they're not making the good decisions. Like Matt, you know in your mind, you know you have to realize people choose the games they play, and I feel like you gotta almost respect that because they have options. They're not in North Korea where there's only one game to play.
I'm just not willing. Okay, so let me rephrase this.
They can't make decisions, but you
keep
can.
Coming back to the I'm calling them dumb.
Yes.
Let me. Okay, no. Let me rephrase this.
Okay.
I'm not willing to base whether a game is good or not on how often other people play it.
How do you define? How do you define what game is good then? Because I have a very clear definition. What is because you disagree with my measure. I'm curious. What is your measure?
Off the top of my head, I don't have a measurement.
Here's the measure most people come back with. Whatever I feel like is the best, and that's not an argument. That's
I'm
most
just not
people come with
willing
that.
to base it. I'm just not willing to base it on how many other people are playing it. And
Can
how
you think of a better metric? Because no one I spoke to can think of anything.
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
That's the thing.
All right, you can get back to me next podcast if you want. All right, but because everyone I speak to, they say, "Oh, I want to start analyzing the design intricacies. I want to look at the target market. I want to see the business model all put together." But the second you do that, you start putting your own subjective views on everything, and there's no basis of discussion anymore. Because some people, you might just like a game better because it aims at your demographic, your values, the things you generally like seeing more. But that's no point of comparison, I think.
It's just, I'm not calling people stupid. I'm just saying there's an infinite amount of factors as to why they could have chosen that game, and fun doesn't have to be the number one.
I think ultimately fun is the number one. You might find a few examples where people are addicted to, they get addicted, they're not having fun, but these are exceptions to the rule. I don't think, because there are people that get addicted, and that's a different issue. But if you look at the percent of gamers that have actual clinically diagnosed game addiction, you have to obviously factor those guys out because maybe they got addicted to one game before they got to another game. But even if you factor that stuff out, you're left with like a player base that's like what 1% of the player base or less. So those are all rounding errors. So I think my definition is I wish she was here to argue with me as well, but I feel like my definition is pretty concrete.
If you want an objective measure of fun, and I'm not even sure how much value there is in that, I agree with you. But I would never rely on the measurement besides a conversation like this, right? I'm not sure how much...
it's okay to not like the good
industry,
games. Okay.
I look at things always as a form of criticism. I'm not sure you can truly take an objective measurement away. But if you want to take one, I think you're on it.
Okay, I think it's the only objective measure you can take.
I don't know what else you could do. So... But I don't like it. I wouldn't use it to guide my own judgments, right?
Yeah.
Is I think what I take away from it. But if you want to take, then you're good.
All right.
But you're right. I think you also point to something very interesting, and we see it too often. And it's not racism. It's just like shitty bullshit where
Bullshit.
You look at a game like Revelation Online, you go, oh, it's a Chinese MMORPG, it's garbage, and that's what I see, and that's very unfair. And it's not racist because I don't think people are filled with hate.
I admit I'm wrong right now. Somebody just proved me wrong. I'm ready to admit why. Easy Machiavelli just said in the chat, there's actually a better measure, a more objective measure. The star rating on MMOs.com is the only measure.
True.
So you know what? I backpedal. I agree with Easy Machiavelli. The best measure is the star rating on MMOs.com. Right? That is the ultimate measure of fun.
What is the Candy Crush rating? That's the question.
I don't know because I don't think we have a lot of mobile users rating for Candy Crush. So for that reason, that might be pretty underrepresented by our.
You know how there's many different Candy Crushes now?
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4.
We only have
so we
Soda
only have
Saga.
one of them.
All right, that was a fun discussion.
That did eat up a lot of time too. Look at that.
I mean, I want to clarify. I don't like some of the most in my definitions best games. Okay, I don't like playing Candy Crush, but I recognize the value that they create for people.
Sure.
Especially Candy Crush. Like, even though people do shit on Candy Crush, let's be real. You all have old relatives that play Candy Crush, and they literally some people they get so much joy out of that game. They have nothing else going on in their lives but Candy Crush. They get up in the morning to play Candy Crush. That's their reason to live. I don't want to shit on that.
Go to church.
Listen, here's the problem. Here's the problem with PC games, especially.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying with cameras: the best camera is the one you have with you. Okay, and that's why the cell phone camera took off, whereas those $1,000 HDRs are just sitting in closets.
Mm-hmm.
Gaming, right? I tried this with my father. I tried to get my father to play Portal. All right, Portal is kind of low key. You can kind of play at your own pace, right? There's no enemies after you. He couldn't even move straight. The concept of controlling the camera with the mouse and then moving with the arrow key, with WASD, he couldn't figure that out. So and most people in the world are like that, right? So a game, mobile games work for them because they can access accessibility. Okay,
super important.
And we can't downplay that. The whole keyboard and mouse to us seems so simple because we've been playing as kids, but it's a very complicated interface.
I learned that after seeing my dad try playing Portal. I admit that's the only time I really opened my eyes. Because trying to see someone play like a PC game with mouse and keyboard when they're like elderly is something you realize how much more difficult it is. They might be Candy Crush pros, right? But they won't be able to move around in Portal.
Not just the elderly though. Right?
Yeah.
I know people
Of course,
who they haven't grown up on games, and when I watch them sit in front of a keyboard and play something, I go, I want to be a backseat gamer, just yell at them the whole time, but it just doesn't help. And you're both honest. I mean, we are, and this entire podcast and chat are totally insulated in our little worlds, and we downplay others, and I guess it's a form of making yourself feel better. I don't know, but everyone's just trying to have fun.
Yeah,
and just accept that and move on and leave them alone. Who cares?
Yep, exactly.
All right. Well, there's one thing I want to touch on. There's one thing I want to touch on, which is kind of like a Remo kind of called it thing, and I have to, when I call something, I gotta brag about it. All right.
Apparently, I know what you're gonna say, and I'm gonna downplay. Go ahead.
Have fun downplaying it, but it's the truth. All right. When Blizzard released the ranking system for Overwatch with the gold system, silver system, I said, remember what I said? I said they're making it too easy. It's devaluing what gold means because everyone's getting gold. Even like the bottom 1% players are getting gold. And they specifically even came out of BlizzCon and said, we screwed up in Season 2 with skill rankings. Our skill rankings were supposed to be a bell curve, but it's too compact of a bell curve. We put too many players into plat rather than gold or silver. We'll be moving a lot of players down lower. Called it, boys.
Baby.
I called it.
Coming into the sync with the rest of the industry.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, we went over this yesterday, and my opinion on this is very clear. It is not the names. It is how many people were so close to the center. It has nothing to do with the names.
No, the names were a part of it too. The names were a part. You can't give somebody a gold medal if they suck.
They clustered it too much. That's what their bell curve was more like a point. That's what they're saying.
I'm with Matt. He's correct.
It has nothing to do with the names. They could have put gold at the bottom. It wouldn't have changed the fact.
If they made gold at the bottom and bronze at the top, they wouldn't do that. Gold has meaning. Bronze has meaning. Bronze means you're shitter.
It's ridiculous to believe that the names didn't factor into their decision at all.
It had to. I'm telling you.
No.
Olympics, silver, gold.
It's all on numbers.
We had this conversation already.
I'm with Matt.
We would pick our sides and call it a truce.
All right. We got the right side, the wrong side. All right. Take side that you. All right.
I thought you were gonna bring up EVE Online because EVE Online will be going.
Yeah. I called that as well.
But that's bullshit because it's
no bullshit, me.
WoW, And here's why: because it's not like the game's going totally free to play. It's basically like a robust free trial. And if you continue playing to a certain point, you're going to feel obligated to play because you'll have invested, or obligated to pay because you'll have invested so many hours.
Sure, but it's some element of free to play. So I want to take
Sure,
some
but I
element
think
of
more
credit
games
there too.
need that.
Yeah, I think every game needs an unlimited trial because the
Unlimited?
thing is, no, I mean, yeah, unlimited time-wise.
Oh,
Like-
sure.
Yeah, every game needs to do their trial differently because that giving me 14 days just makes me feel stressed out. That's all it makes me feel. It's like, am I going to know at the end of this 14 days? Am I going to know? Do I have to pay for another month to find out? Like, that,
No, it's better to hit a wall.
yeah, it is much better for me to hit a wall.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, Eve, the free to play Eve. That's starting real soon too.
November,
So when is that? When are we gonna Sunday Funday that?
I believe it's November 15th, and I think Sunday Funday might be a terrible idea, but we can just... Because we'll never get in a group together if we're all doing that intro.
We gotta
splitting it
gotta
out.
do the MMOs.com begging extravaganza on Eve. All right, we go on Eve and we
yeah,
all make
all kinds
female
of master.
characters and we all beg everyone. Whoever can beg the most money in an hour wins.
You know
I
what's
thought that
funny?
could be a lot of
It'd
fun.
Begging with people, also begging, because it's all going to be noobs in the starting zones.
So like you gotta try different strats. You might try like ERPing them, like flirting with them. You might try like the financial domination metric, being like, "Give me money, asshole." There's all different strats. You got to see what works. I think that'd be a lot of fun, like a different way of competing that's nothing to do with gameplay. Like almost like who's better at smoozing people.
Yeah, okay.
I'm always down to beg in MMOs.
Alte is a begging extravaganza. He would play Eve Online just to beg.
I just feel like you're both genetically equipped to haggle better than me.
The Middle
Like,
Eastern.
Yeah, the Middle Eastern haggle. I don't have it in me. I just don't look like I can haggle. I'm too white. I just don't have it in me.
I'm just worried with Eves that we're gonna spend like half an hour literally just teleporting around.
Well, yeah, that's the
I
actual
love
game.
that.
Yeah.
Well, if you all pick the same faction, we'll be in the same space station. But I guess we'll figure that out later. Is it that time of the week though? Is it the time of the week where we get to the interesting shit, or do we have something to?
I'm curious.
Actually,
about
we
this-
do have one.
Yeah. Bring that up.
You know
Kobe.
what?
That's all you.
I hope we're on the same page here. We
Yeah.
have to mention Facebook launch. Was that what you were getting at?
Yeah.
Okay, Facebook launched Gameroom. It's a desktop client, so you can play Facebook games without logging into Facebook.com. A lot of people out there were speculating this is a competitor to Steam. I don't know what they were smoking. I think this is just for people who already play Facebook games. It is. You can go download it now from, I believe, Gameroom.com. I did download it.
Have you downloaded
but-
it? All right.
Yeah, I download. Just look at the interface. I don't know. What I'm considering is Facebook also owns Oculus, right? And Oculus also has a client. And I wonder if eventually Facebook plans to merge Oculus and this and try and create their own gaming platform. But for now, I think this is just a way for them to cater to people who are already embedded in Facebook gaming. I don't know if you guys have any opinions on this or not.
Wait, are there any like client-based PC games on the platform, or is it just strictly?
Pretty
Just
much
Facebook
any
nonsense.
game. This is the Gameroom was developed in collaboration with Unity, so any Unity game can function on it. So there's quite a few Unity games on
And
there,
some Flash games.
and some Flash games, and then the typical Facebook games. But I don't believe there's any full-fledged Steam titles. Again, I don't think this is trying to compete directly with Steam. But I'll launch it right now and take a look.
Maybe not yet. Do you think Facebook is trying to get into the market that Steam is in, or do you think this is just something completely different? Like they just want to focus on their social stuff?
No, I think it's gonna be social stuff because like the fact that they have no like what people would
Not
call
yet.
core games
Not yet.
there. Well, why would they? I mean, right? They have a whole different market with Facebook. They've never had the core game market.
But the social game market that you're talking about, Matt, has been in decline for years. If you look at Zynga, like they were on top of the world like 4 or 5 years ago. They're literally nothing now. They're nobodies anymore. People don't play those social games anymore.
It's a large leap to go from strictly like games that used to be in your browser client on Facebook.com to trying to like push Fallout 4 through yours and pull the Steam crowd away from Steam. And I don't think it's going to happen.
But I think if anyone can do this, it's going to be Facebook or Amazon, or Microsoft. These are the three companies that have like the financial might to be able to fund something like this because they have. I mean, Facebook is obviously a giant company, but they also have the cloud infrastructure all over America to deliver content probably at faster speeds than Steam if they wanted to because they have the infrastructure. They're a $300 billion company.
You know what Facebook's competing with? Here's my prediction. There's a lot of people who use just Facebook.
Mhm.
Right? They only use Facebook, and there's a lot of people in other countries that just use Facebook. They don't really use the internet or other platforms, and it's a lot of mobile games on here. And I think that somehow the whole point of this is to basically corner that market, get the people who only use Facebook and those in the future who only use Facebook, and get them on this platform, because this is the only way they're going to play games. And I see Cops here. Cops is a mobile game. Most of these look like mobile games.
Look.
And Flash games and what you'd already find.
Got me. Read the quote. From shooter to strategy, builders to bingo, find your game in Gameroom designed for PC gaming.
Sure,
I think they're taking a shot at Steam. I don't know if it's going to be successful, but I hope they are for
PC
one
gaming
reason.
means a lot of things.
If
though.
this is a shot at Steam, it's a weak one.
The
but
reason being... If,
in the long term, maybe.
yes, not like immediately, because obviously
like years from now,
the
maybe
toe,
if-
the little toe is touching the water right now. But
Sure.
don't you think Steam needs competition, though? Steam is...
Yes.
Gaben gets a cool 30% of every single transaction on Steam, you know?
We all support Steam, but it's not healthy to have just
It's not,
one
dude.
good platform.
Valve has too much power, and I love
They
Steam.
do.
I love Steam, but they take a big cut from publishers and even indie developers. So having some competition, if Steam brings that cut down to like 15% from competition, I think it's a win-win for everyone. Like at least all consumers, not necessarily for Gabe, but it's a win for everybody else.
Okay, I have no idea why Microsoft has not launched or put more effort.
Oh,
into
they
it.
got the Windows Store.
Yeah, the Windows
No,
Store was supposed to be their
They
thing.
gotta start locking that shit down.
They are
gotta-
goofing for sure.
They gotta start locking that shit down quick.
Well, Aaron, remember Fable was supposed to be their big push into the Windows Store and kind of cornering the market for their own platform, and that fell apart completely.
I got it. Ready?
They need something.
Billion dollar idea.
All right,
Sure,
let's
go
hear it.
ahead.
Let's hear it. I love billion-dollar ideas.
Windows 10 Starter Edition, free. But you can only download programs and install programs from that store. If you want, pay $100 and get the regular Windows 10 and download from online.
That's not a bad idea.
Boom.
And then
Boom.
they can even use that to like make the next version of Windows like by default have that in too. This could be like their
Yeah, Windows Starter, baby.
it could work. Because I think that would actually be really. Because I think a lot of the big PC distributors like Dell and HP, some of the biggest cost is the licensing cost for the operating system. So when you buy a Dell, you can buy like a $300 Dell today and it's half decent, but they can start selling that $300 Dell for $250 or $230 if they give you the free starter edition. So that might be a viable option for them. And for most people, like casual users, being forced to use the Windows Store isn't necessarily bad. They're not like hardcore users.
Casual users.
Mhm.
Because I would circumvent that, but then again, most people aren't going to know how.
Actually, it's pretty funny. Altai just said Windows 10 is still free if you lie and say you're disabled. If you go to the Microsoft website, because they stopped doing the free Windows 10 upgrades, right? But there's a section on Microsoft's website that says if you are disabled, when you use a special like accessibility device, you can download Windows 10 through this special link for free. Because like Windows 10 has some I guess some built-in features to help disabled people like read the text better, maybe with the better DPI settings, with the zoom and stuff. So everyone just lies now, and because I know I had to reinstall Windows 10 on a device I bought, so I just lied and said I was disabled. Do I feel bad about it? No.
I'm not pretending to be holier than thou either. I also did that. I reformatted my laptop and I lied and I said I was disabled.
You have glasses. You got glasses. You're visually disabled, all right? I'm disabled too. I got glasses.
Look, I did that too, and the reason I did that is because they didn't make me plug in a device and confirm it. If they're not going to do that,
But that's like saying
It's- it's
that logic is
unhappy.
like, look, I'm okay with being a little scummy in that regard, but Matt, that's like saying if they don't put the Snickers bar inside one of those anti-theft devices, I got it. I can steal it because
that's not what I'm saying.
some countries
I'm
do have
saying-
anti-theft devices on Snickers, and it's hilarious.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they literally did not ask you to verify it.
So I can find one of those pictures, but I can't right now. But yeah, I think eventually we will move towards Microsoft or Facebook, someone or Amazon, someone's gonna step into the toes of Steam.
Amazon.
Steam cannot get away with charging 30% cut on everyone this long on how big the PC gaming market is. So I think somebody will eventually compete with them. We'll see. We'll see if anyone does it. All right, now we got to move to the interesting shit of the week, and I think we got one we got to touch because it just happened last night. We got Nexon's Gstar lineup 2016.
Trailer.
Yeah, I'm showing the trailer right
It
now.
was a nice trailer.
Have you guys seen this yet? I don't know if Alday saw because I put up like just last night.
Dude, while you show that, I'll be right back.
All right. Basically, this just shows off every game that Nexon is going to be presenting at Gstar, which is, I think, the 3rd week of November, Matt, if that's correct.
I think it's the 17th, if I remember correctly.
The 17th. That's about correct. So you can see the names of the games at the bottom left. What was interesting about this, we did see towards the end of this video Aeria Chronicles. Aeria Chronicles is
yeah,
not
17th to 20th.
They're being shown off over there. But what's more interesting, I think, is there's a game that was missing over here, and that's MapleStory 2. People have been asking me even like regularly on my news videos, any news on MapleStory 2. Dragon Nest 2, by the way, is coming there as well. Tree of Savior Mobile. A lot of fun games over here, big games. But isn't it weird that Nexon's iconic franchise, MapleStory, which is still one of the highest revenue generating MMORPGs in the world, and online PC games in the world, the sequel is completely like, they gave up on the sequel almost. It's not being shown off. There's no word on Western release date, nothing at Gstar. Did they just give up on it completely?
I think so. I think it was a flop.
They're still doing events and stuff, but I think it's over. I think it's done.
Have you guys seen Estelia? I know people are excited about that. It was like a card game / MMO. Matt, do you know anything about it?
I just know it's a card game MMO hybrid, and it's going to have... Okay, so there are going to be 5 classes. There's a gameplay video in the Gstar news post, if you guys want to put that on.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have like a character that roams around the world, and somehow you're going to have... Like, it's about the joy of collecting and nurturing. Like, I'm assuming the trading card type things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably going to be something closer to like Clash Royale system where you collect cards and then kind of level them up. And I don't know. It's kind of weird.
There's so many games here I've never even heard of, like Project Red. A lot of these mobile games blast.
I have played Durango, and Durango is cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. I'm actually excited.
So, Matt, what kind of game is it? Because I've seen the videos. There was like 2 kinds of gameplay where one like you're actively running around shooting things. Others seem almost like a RTS feel. Like, what kind of game is Durango?
It's got it's an MMO, and you run around the open world. I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking about this, but whatever.
Matt, we won't tell if you won't tell.
Just kick me out of the closed beta. Oh well. I've already played it. So you run around, you have to like gather stuff and craft, and you do quests and stuff, and then you have like this giant community. Like, I only played for like an hour, granted. So then there's like this giant community project basically at the end of the island that you're on, and you complete the project, and then you like move on to another island, and you work with other players and put it together with a bunch of different crafting materials. And then combat is kind of auto a little bit, like you move around automatically, but you kind of use skills. You know what I mean? Like you get into the combat and it just kind of dances around the other like the enemies, and you just kind of use skills and attack, and it's kind of cool. I mean, it's very good looking for a mobile game.
I mean, we've seen a lot of impressive mobile games recently. There was that, we're going to show off another one from the Identity Founder people later on, but mobile games obviously are getting better and better visually. And that's no surprise with how big the mobile game market is and how big, obviously smartphone penetration is now in the world.
And I mean, I know people are hyped about Aeria Chronicles, but whether or not I'm actually going to be hyped is going to be entirely contingent on what they show at Gstar. Like, it's all on that. Like, they barely showed anything before, and people got hyped mostly about the art style, I think, and what they were promising. But depending on what gameplay looks like is going to depend on if it's on my map at all. The art style's not enough.
With Aeria Chronicles?
Yeah.
What they showed that video almost seemed like a rehash of the previous like trailers. I don't think they showed any like new gameplay because
no, I mean when they get to Gstar, what they show is going to depend on.
In the trailer itself, it showed the same exact art style, and like almost I'm pretty sure the same clip from the old trailer. So it was like
I'm just saying the art style isn't enough.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Do we know anything about their only other PC game in development, which is Project Meta?
I think they have more than one PC game in development. If you look at this video, I mean, I was surprised to see.
No, there's only Aeria and Project Meta. The other ones they're publishing.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, the self-developed. You're right.
I heard literally nothing about Project Meta. Nothing at all. I didn't even know that. I didn't go through this video, so I didn't even know that was a thing until you just said it.
That's the only name I didn't really recognize.
Yeah,
that's why
I didn't either. Can you guys believe Revolt Tails Runner is going to be a thing? Was the Tails Runner franchise that popular in Asia? Because it wasn't very big here.
It was in Korea actually. I had a good stat about it. Let me see if I can find it while you guys.
Because it's a mobile game too.
Yeah. So you can see all of their titles, but obviously the big focus here is going to be on mobile. Like almost so many of their games shown off. Look at the number of PC games versus mobile games shown off, and I think next year's gonna be even more one-sided. I'm excited for Tomb Savior.
So it has some of the most generic names I have ever seen. So Unknown Heroes, Total Clash. What's the other one? Fantasy Town. Fantasy Town.
Sounds like a Disney game.
Yeah. Need for Speed Edge, but yeah.
At over 60 million players.
Holy crap!
And if you look at like the comments, even on MMOs.com, it's one of the few games that has a decent conversation going on for a dead game, in the comment section.
Mm-hmm.
So it is interesting.
I'll tell you, Dark Avengers 3. That seems to be another next. Is this a mobile game or no? Might have been a mobile game. It looked quite good for a mobile game. A lot of these games are impressing me.
Shooting games in their mobile section, which was interesting.
Yeah.
The one's clearly on rails, the Gunpei one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm really interested in Maple Blitz X, but I have a feeling it's going to be kind of Clash Royale like, where you have to level up your cards.
I want to see more about Astelia. I'm gonna see if I find a video for that.
There's a video on the news article on the site. I said that.
Let me go grab it.
And then I'm rather intrigued by Need for Speed World. Need for Speed Edge. Need for Speed World was cool and all, but it felt like a free-to-play game. So I'm hoping that Need for Speed Edge.
Whoa! It felt like a free-to-play game. What's wrong with that?
It just felt cheap.
Wow!
Like cheap
Are you saying all games are free? All free-to-play games are cheap?
No, I'm saying in a franchise that's traditionally
okay, that's fair. Need for
paid for, it felt like the free-to-play version of Need for Speed. So I'm hoping Need for Speed Edge is an MMO, and it feels better than Need for Speed World.
So I'm looking at Astelia right now from Step Power's channel. It's one of the only other PC MMORPGs they're actually working on. The whole card game / MMORPG mix. I think, Matt, you mentioned earlier on Discord, it was similar to, I guess, Cardbound Hero, the only other game that tried to do that. The Cardbound Hero, it shut down rather quickly. So hopefully they do better luck with that. TCG MMORPG. So is it actually a trading card game RPG? That'd be impressive.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not clear. And then it's going to have like Coliseum PvP and PvE raids. And I guess that's going to be most of the endgame content. That's what it sounds like.
I
have no idea.
We're going to have a lot of fun stuff to look at when Gstar actually happens, because this is just Nexon's lineup. We got to see, there's a lot more smaller studios going to be presenting there. We're going to see a lot of crazy amount of games for there. So we have a lot to look forward to. And I think it's also cool to see that Nexon is still developing some big PC MMORPGs. And because we always talk about mobile taking over, and some people are saying the death of the PC MMORPG. And I want to say, actually, steer the conversation for a moment to... there's a new game being worked on by Kakao Games and Bluehole Studios. So let me go ahead and show you that bit of news. And they are billing it as, I know it's Gumby's favorite term, a AAA MMORPG. So there is a new AAA MMORPG in the works. Gumby, how do you feel about that?
I don't know what that means.
See, you could be a double A, you could be a single A, you can get some triple Bs. See, it's key.
A triple B game.
Triple D game? The double Ds, the triple Ds? But is triple D an actual breast size? Because they got double D.
Yeah, it is.
Well, today I learned. I always thought it was just one or two letters. Guys, you learn something new in the MMOs.com podcast every day. I learned something new this week too. But yeah, we know nothing about this game, unfortunately. But we just know that Bluehole is working on it, and they're the guys behind Terra. So I'm personally excited to see that we are still seeing like bigger budget, like PC MMORPGs still launching. Because I know the trend this year has always been us talking about mobile. So the PC MMORPG, I think, is far from dead. And the PC gaming for free-to-play games is far from dead as well.
I can agree with that.
The death has been greatly exaggerated.
Well, actually, it's still growing, the PC game revenue. So I don't know what... The death talk kind of was like 2 generations ago of consoles, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Alta and I predicted consoles would be on the way gone a while ago, but look how wrong we've been. Consoles are still big. Yep. Somebody should make the first triple S MMORPG. That's the trick. You gotta call your game a triple S game. Everyone else says AAA. AAA is boring, Somebody's gonna come out and say we are the world's first triple S game, and don't even explain what that means.
Triple S would be cool.
Because you get triple S and like in MMORPGs, when you finish the dungeon, you get a rating at the end. Gotta be triple S. But yeah,
I do think though, retail sales are gonna die, even for consoles. I feel like so much of it is going digital now.
But listen,
that's
I'll
one
tell
thing
you,
I'll make it call.
we've been saying that forever. I thought GameStop would be bankrupt by now. Let's be real. Like you can buy your games online. You can buy everywhere sells games now. You can buy at Target. You can buy at Walmart. Why is GameStop still a thing? I thought for sure they'd be gone years ago, and I thought digital distribution would take over because of the PlayStation Store and the Xbox Store. But no, they're still around.
All right, pop quiz time. What percent of Activision Blizzard sales were digital?
I know the answer, so I'm not going to answer because I put the news up, the previous news on that.
I'll just guess 20%.
You think 20? What? Wait, 20% is digital or 20% is retail?
20% is digital.
I'd
Of
guess
Activision
60.
Blizzard.
Overall, Activision Blizzard?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yes.
10%.
86% is digital.
86% is digital?
That's
I expected
insane.
it to be a lot lower because of kids buying Call of Duty and stuff like that, console.
Nope. So that's we're going that way for sure.
Are you sure it's Activision Blizzard or just Blizzard? Because I know Blizzard is almost all it should be Blizzard almost entirely digital, but people still buy Call of Duty.
Activision Blizzard for the third quarter, the company made 86% revenue from digital online channels.
All right, that's impressive. They're going with direct
But remember,
distribution.
guys, don't forget Blizzard is almost all digital, right?
Yes.
And don't forget King, which is Candy
Oh
Crush.
yeah, of course.
I
That
forgot about
kind
that
of skews it too, because you
No,
can't.
it doesn't. Blizzard is the biggest portion.
I-
King is about the same as Activision in size. in
All right, I
terms of
thought
revenue.
Activision. Well, I thought Activision was bigger for some reason because of Call of Duty.
Yeah, I think you guys are overestimating Call of Duty's sales numbers.
Yeah, clearly.
Well, I haven't seen the data, so yes.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. When you think Activision, I think Call of Duty. Is there anything else that Activision does? I'm sure they have Guitar Hero or something, right?
They do, I think, Skylanders and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that one doesn't count because Skylanders never crosses my mind until someone else mentions it. What else do they got?
I think you're the only one.
Wait, Destiny. Don't they have Destiny?
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
they got Destiny. That's true. But in my mind, Activision Blizzard is Blizzard. I carry Blizzard close to my heart than I do Activision.
Today I learned they have Guitar Hero too. I didn't know
I
that.
do. I call that one as well.
All right, how about this, guys? Another guessing game. What percent of EA's revenues were digital? It's a lot. It's less than Activision
Okay.
because EA is more console oriented.
I'm gonna say 50%, 45%. That's my
Okay,
guess. That's the
Gumbo?
Remo guess.
I'll say 65.
Well, you guys are cutting out a lot. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
What was
All
your
right.
What's your guess for digital for EA?
70.
63. So Gumbo was closer. To
I
65.
get it.
Gumby gets it.
But yeah, so we're going that direction for sure.
So what are places like GameStop gonna do? Did they sell can you buy a mobile phone subscription at GameStop now? Does anybody think that's weird? Yeah, I'm gonna go to GameStop and sign up for a phone plan. What?
No,
I
they're
guess
gonna
if you're
sell.
there.
They're gonna send high-end peripherals. They're gonna sell the Razer keyboards and.
They do sell
headsets.
that stuff now.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah. They're gonna sell used games for a while.
But if everyone's buying games digitally, I feel like actually I was looking at GameStop recently because I was curious why they're still around, and I look at their investor pitch, and I think they said specifically that their market is still insulated. Let me see if I can find the presentation because they say digital distribution is a big problem because the file sizes on PS4 and Xbox are enormous.
Yep.
So
All right, so
that protects them a little bit because most people don't have super fast internet, and you can't have you can't have digital distribution when your internet sucks and the game's like 50 GB.
You don't bet against technology with this because I think we're gonna get home internet. I think I made this call before. This is kind of unrelated, but we're coming towards the end. So I think landlines for internet is gonna die when 5G mobile comes out.
5G mobile.
Internet. We're gonna have modems in our house. We're gonna have a 5G receiver in our house, and we're gonna get internet the same way our phones do through the ether, right?
All
Through
right.
the ether. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, 5G, same as your phone. Your computer's just gonna download games. Your PS5 or 6 is gonna download games through 5G, LTE, whatever they want to call it. It's gonna be like 10 gigs a second.
All right.
Boom.
I want to ask you guys a question. What is the digital penetration for PS4 and Xbox One video games? Don't look at the stream because the answer's
Bro,
not there.
Can you define digital penetration?
People buying the game from the PS4, I guess the PlayStation Store and Xbox, not buying the physical.
I really don't think it's that high.
because
I'll
they
say-
can do it today.
I'll say 40%.
Matt?
I'll go low. I'll say 25.
I'll go high and say 60.
It's 20% at the moment. 20% of PS4 and Xbox One games are, I guess, being
They
purchased.
want to own it. They
So if you-
want to feel the physical copy between their fingers.
So listen,
No,
I'll
that's a minority. I think the technology.
Clearly, it's not. We just talked about that.
No, but technology is hindering them. Like Omar said, downloading a 50 gig game for your PS4 is not easy today.
I feel like these
already
numbers are
easier.
wrong. Maybe I'm being stupid, but if you look at it, it says it'll take 11 hours at 10 megabits per second for a 40 GB game. There's no way.
You can probably preload it. No, you can probably preload it like a week before it comes out.
Yeah, but is it really? Hold on. If 10 megabits per second, you can download in 10 seconds 100 megabytes. In 100 seconds, you download a gigabyte. So that's what, 4,000 seconds? Is 4,000 seconds really 11 hours? Or am I retarded?
Yeah. What?
Hold on. 4,000 divided by 60 for minutes. No, that's 1 hour. So look at the math over here for a second, all right? Oh,
that is not even close to right.
okay, because it's 10 megabits is 1 megabyte per second. I thought it was 10 megabytes per second.
No, it's 8 megabits is 1 megabyte per second.
Okay, all right. I read that as megabytes per second. That was my issue. That's what it'll take forever over here. All right. That always screws me up because the M and B have to be capital for it to be megabytes per second, and Mbps if they're all lowercase is megabits per second. That always gets me. Sorry about that. And they actually break down what the ebook penetration is. And that's actually 25 to 30% for ebooks. I thought physical books would be way more. And then you got music at 50 and movies at 40 to 45. But yeah, GameStop is still relevant for whatever reason.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, they're still hanging in there. Anyone want to take it?
We did have some more big foreign game news. Let's start with just throwing it out there that Lineage Eternal is going to have something huge happen on November 10th. Maybe it might not be huge, but it'll be something. They're really gearing up to show us something. I think I'm predicting it's either going to be information about a closed beta that's coming up, or it's going to be another trailer, but this time it's going to be gameplay. Everybody seems to be convinced it'll be closed beta signups, but I don't think so. I don't think they're just going to drop them on us like that.
I hate when people do this, like, oh, big announcement coming on X date, and it's like, you never know what it is, and usually it's half the time it's something stupid, like they announce like something useless, like, all right, we're going to start our closed beta soon, or like this close, or it doesn't mean anything towards full release. I think everyone wants to know when they can play Lineage Eternal, and I don't think we're going to find out on November 10th. But again, something is happening on November 10th for Lineage Eternal, and it's a game that's had a lot of hype alongside alongside Lost Ark. So the fact that we got something is still good, but the fact that it's probably going to be nothing is unfortunate.
And it should be noted that it was rumored that closed beta would start this month, like based on some sort of inside source. But I think the fact that they're still teasing announcements shows that it's not going to be this month.
But yeah, we'll obviously learn more on the 10th. But are they still doing their strategy where the game is going to be available on mobile as well as PC? Because I remember that was like their thing when they first announced it.
Well, I'm hearing conflicting reports now that like the whole simultaneous release worldwide might have been a rumor, and I'm not sure about the mobile, but I think the mobile thing is real.
Say that again. You got cut off at the end. Mobile is what?
I think the mobile thing is real, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right.
I guess we won't know until they could have dropped it mid-development for all we know. We'll know when they have more solid information.
All right, we'll take a look at this, actually. I think we see some mobile. Lineage Eternal mobile game cloud support. Play anywhere. Gstar. They showed off the play anywhere aspect of Lineage Eternal back at Gstar 2014. Look at this. Do you think we're actually going to get this? Altai, take a look at the stream, too. Do you think this is going to happen? If so, that'd be so cool. Wouldn't this be awesome?
Streaming? Like, it streams it to the mobile phone?
Yeah, I guess so.
No.
No, we're not gonna get.
He showed you on the PC the exact same thing, and now he's on mobile. He's doing the same thing. Calling bullshit. I'm calling bullshit too.
Okay, here's the thing though.
No way.
Dragon Quest X actually does stream to the Android, iOS, and 3DS clients. It's not actually on there. It streams it.
Yeah, it could do that, but this is not gonna happen. I don't know what's going on, but this ain't gonna happen.
This is what kept Lineage Eternal stuck in
Yes,
development for so
you're
long.
right. I think 100% you're right.
Because they tried to make this work, but it's not there yet. It'll be there in 10 years or whatever, but not today.
But
No way.
yeah, I don't know if it's actually still a thing. They could have dropped it mid-development. I mean, we know basically nothing, right?
But here's what I know. Here's what I do know. This cloud gaming is such bullshit. All right, it's the most hyped up, nonsensical market in the world.
Been
You
hyped
guys,
for years.
do you guys remember Gaikai? Sony
Yes,
paid
bought them.
for $380 million in 2012, right? And guess what? It's zero. Zilch. Nobody's ever done anything with this again. They marketed like, okay, you can play all these real PC games on your computer. If you have you have the worst computer in the world, but you can play these games. And the way it would work, the technology promised it would stream it from a really powerful computer back at their headquarters
Omer.
to your computer, to your monitor.
Didn't
go
you
anywhere.
realize what happened to it, right?
Didn't go anywhere. I'll tell you
It's
that.
PlayStation Now.
That's something completely different.
No, that is the technology. Sony bought Gaikai to turn it into PlayStation Now.
I thought the core technology, you just play these. You can just stream these games. You're not doing that with PlayStation Now.
yeah,
Gaikai's whole I played on Gaikai when it first came out. I tested their service. Their whole mission statement was we're going to be
PlayStation Now is streaming. You stream it to a different console than it was made for.
But you were playing games on weak computers. They were cloud-based. You were playing. There were supercomputers on the back end of their infrastructure, and they were
But
streaming
that's
to weak
what
computers.
they did with it. That's
But
what
that-
Sony did with
But that's
it.
like they bought like and they bought a website and then they turned it to PlayStation Now. Like, sure, they I think they saved face. Let me see if I can find some more information about this.
That's what they did with it because it's a cloud streaming gaming service. That's what PlayStation Now is. They took the back end software and made it PlayStation
Hold
Now.
up. Can I play like Witcher or whatever on PlayStation Now without like having it installed and stuff?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, if you-
I'm just trying to clear it up.
I didn't know you could play without having installed. Like,
Yes, that's what PlayStation Now is. It's cloud streaming. That's what I tried to tell you.
what I'm upset about is this. It was very hyped. The whole cloud streaming for PC, because on a PC it has not gone anywhere. I remember Runes of Magic, right? You could play Runes of Magic on the browser with no download, and they promised that same bullshit cloud technology where you could play all these 50 GB PC games on weak computers on a browser, and it worked for like a week, and then they just shut it down. I don't know why. So it hasn't gone anywhere on PC. Look, I haven't played console games since like early PS3 era, so I'm a little bit out of the loop over there. I just know on the PC, it's been an utter disappointment. All the cloud gaming nonsense.
Well, I agree. I think it has been so far kind of pointless. I don't think it's gonna go. I think Steam is the way to the future. You download the game through the cloud, then you just launch it from your end.
It's possible that at some point you will just have cloud computing, but it's a long ways off.
We have to have more instantaneous like connections for it to work.
I'm curious. I want to look into the financials of Sony because I will bet you anything they wrote down the entire value of that investment to zero. But I'll have to come back on the next podcast to give it to you because it's going to be in their financial statements. Because anytime a company buys another company, every quarter they have to write down if it changes in value. If the value of if they don't use the service to the full price they paid, they got to write down the value of it on their balance sheet. And I'm curious what it's going to be, and I'll try to bring that number up next week. But I feel like it's going to be written down.
And I'm just gonna do a few more rapid fire things that are
All right.
pretty big. So first off, NCSoft is suing Netmarble because, and everybody's going, well, this is embarrassing, and I'm like, okay, stop with the tropes, guys. But anyways, basically what happened was, NCSoft and Netmarble partnered together to avoid getting NCSoft being hostily taken over by Nexon.
Mhm.
And before that, at some point, they had signed a deal to make Lineage 2 Revolution. Netmarble would be making it for mobile, and it's NCSoft's IP, obviously, and it's the Lineage 2 IP exactly, right? So they have the rights for that game, for the IP. Later, Netmarble makes Aden or Aiden, or however the fuck it's pronounced, and it's alleged by NCSoft that in Aiden, they took parts of the Lineage 2 IP, including the name Aiden, which is a popular location in Lineage 2, and a few item and spell names that are almost identical. And they're saying that they infringed on the Lineage 2 copyright, and Netmarble is saying, no, we didn't. It's not a PC game. It's a mobile game. Therefore, we are exempt. Some shit like that.
Oh.
and it's everybody's wondering how this is going to affect their business alliance after the whole thing with Nexon, and of course, will Nexon try to take over NCSoft later? I mean, it's a good question, huh?
They tried once. I wouldn't be surprised they can. They clearly want to, so they can find a way to make it happen.
Can you imagine Lineage 2 being owned by NCSoft and just like the entire Lineage and Nexon, the entire Lineage franchise?
Nexon
like,
is the Korean juggernaut. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. Yeah, I could see it too.
Go ahead, take over, Nexon. Get your monopoly going.
Hey, in China, you have Tencent and NetEase that dominate the world. NetEase. I think we mentioned this on the stream earlier. The company that made Revelation Online, they actually developed it. They are bigger than Activision Blizzard. That's insane. They're like the second or third biggest gaming company in the world at that
it's pretty
point.
ridiculous when you put it in retrospect.
Because we view like gaming in the West as like, okay, we got Sony and their gaming stuff, but it's kind of hard to because they're a big conglomerate. But then you have basically EA, Activision, Ubisoft, these big companies. But then you have this Chinese juggernaut that we've never heard of that's actually bigger than all of those. It's nuts.
And for more news, Civilization Online is shutting down on December 7th. It technically never left beta, but we all call open beta release. So it's been out for about a year. I guess that the PvP-focused RTS-style gameplay mixed with the traditional MMO gameplay just didn't work in Korea. It was very, very, very like PvP focused, and you had to like take over the world with your faction, and you could like sneak into other people's cities and take them over, and then like have a spawn point for your faction and behind enemy lines and shit like that. And I mean, in theory, it sounds great, but I guess it didn't work out. And of course, the Civilization franchise is probably much more well known in the West, and yeah, it's being shut down. We don't know if that's going to affect the deals that were previously signed in other countries. I think China has a publishing deal that never came to fruition, as far as I know. But I have no idea.
If it shuts down in the home country, it's not a good sign anywhere else.
Yeah.
Guys, the big news, big other news we had to cover. Final Fantasy 15 Omen, the Final Fantasy 15 mobile MMO.
Oh yeah, they hired Machine Zone, now known as MZ, to develop a Final Fantasy 15 spin-off MMO for mobile.
Machine Zone? Is this going to be like another? Is this going to be just like
a city builder?
Please no.
Yeah, we have no idea.
No, it's not going to be a city builder.
Let's see the video. Please no city builder. Please, I will cringe.
There's a video.
I'm watching the video, but this is the cutscenes.
No, there's no gameplay or anything. Yeah. They just made the agreement. That's it.
Please don't be a city builder.
It won't be. It's going to feature story, the soundtrack, and the narrative from Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, but a lot of people are surprised about this, but my thoughts are they've been working on the game for 10 years. They've started to view each of their games as their own franchises, like we saw with Final Fantasy 13 and the whole... They had 3 games, and they had like Vegito Final Fantasy or something that was like a spin-off of the 13 series, but not really related to the 13 series, and they have all this stuff. This was originally going to be part of the Final Fantasy 13 series as Final Fantasy 13 Versus. So I just see it as they see Final Fantasy 15 as a franchise within a franchise, and they're trying to expand into more than just the game they've been working on for 10 years.
I mean, I understand that perspective, but I just don't want to see a city builder because it's Machine Zone. What has Machine Zone done? They've done Game of War and they've done the Mobile Strike. Do they have anything else?
Well, Game of War is their big product.
No, both Game of War and Machine.
Well,
Mobile Strike as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're both huge.
Here's what I'm looking at. Right, I see a company that, as we've said, has had trouble breaking into the mobile market, and I see a company that has had no trouble breaking into the mobile market being hired on to help this other company get into the mobile market. That's what I see.
I just don't want to see a city builder because what has Machine Zone done? They've done, I think, nothing but Mobile Strike. And
I don't think it matters. I think that Square Enix is just looking at this as they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's not like the people that work at Machine Zone only know how to make one kind of product.
But that's all they've made so far, right?
What's wrong with the city builder? It's
I know it's you're right. I love Final Fantasy. The franchise means a lot to me. I cringe when I think of city builder. That's my personal. Obviously, I think the game will be successful because Machine Zone knows how to make their game city builders, and they're gonna make probably a shit ton of money. But I just don't want to see a city builder because I'd rather see anything else.
Hold up. If everyone is playing city builders, doesn't that mean it's a lot of fun?
Yes, it's a better game. Sure, like I said, I clearly said my view is enough to jive.
It's a better casino. Okay,
it's a better game.
Call it what it is. It's a better casino.
I love the franchise. I just personally don't want to see it that way. Okay, that's my personal jive. And I don't know. We'll see
right,
where it goes.
I don't think we're going to see a city builder, though. I think it's going to be more closer to Mobius.
Yeah, I mean anything but city builder because I'm still hyped for FF15 on my console. I have it pre-ordered, ready to go.
Did you get your PS4.5?
Not yet. It's coming out on Friday, I think.
Yet?
Friday.
I see. I'll wait for those initial. I'll wait for your review, and then I'll decide.
I think you need a 4K TV to really make use of it anyway. But
I
don't even have a 4K TV, so it probably might be overkill for now.
Keep your fingers crossed for Black Friday.
Yeah,
nice Slick Deals alerts on.
That's true. All right, I'll keep my.
I'm probably going to be rushing on Black Friday to get up and get on Nintendo's website and buy a $100 new 3DS because I need a new 3DS finally.
Wait, is that going to be on sale? I kind of want one too now for the new Pokemon.
And it's not going to be an XL, but the new 3DS just on its own. They're going to be black and white ones that are on sale for $100. Black Friday.
It's not a bad deal at all.
The non-XL actually looks a lot sleeker, in my opinion.
Well, the XL is for the bigger screen.
Yeah, I know, but I like the bigger screen, but it doesn't look as sleek.
I think the same has been true of every DS so far, though.
Yeah.
A lot of mobile game stuff, guys. I think we'll touch up on one more, and then I think we're going to call it. Project 100, this is I think one of the better looking mobile games because it's showing actual gameplay, not just cutscenes. It's made by the Identity Games co-founder. His name is, I'm going to pronounce it horribly wrong, Jong Sik Park. I got the park part right, but maybe
That sounds right.
But the Jung, is it Jung or Young? Young.
I'm going to go with Young. I like the way it sounds.
Young, what about SIC? How do you pronounce it?
Where is it?
Young Seek Park.
Young Sik Park, all right?
It's Jung. It's Jung.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. We're calling it Young. All right. You get some actual gameplay over here, and I think what is this? Hound 13? I think of Metal Gear Solid for some obvious reasons.
This game looks gorgeous. Actually, this game when I saw the trailer for this,
I thought it was a PC game.
Yeah, I thought it was a PC game. I thought, wow, because it just shows you that mobile's so quickly catching up.
The graphics are great. Again. Yeah, the graphics are good.
And
look at that! Wow.
It needs to be stated. This works on an S4.
Yeah.
I mean, they've tested it on an
ridiculous.
S4. I don't know how they did it, but this somehow works on an S4.
And guys, what looks the coolest here is we're seeing an open area because so many of these games where there's Heroes of Credible Tales, Division Mobile, it's almost like a tiny ass pathway.
We think it's an open area.
Yeah, we don't know.
We
Obviously,
really
there's
don't know.
nothing
It
known
could
about the
be-
game.
I think it'll be hallways. Personally,
Probably.
I think it's gonna be Blade and Soul hallways.
I think it'll be slightly more open hallways, but hallways.
Oh god, no! Now we're watching the actual. We'll see. We're seeing a guy actually play it. Let's see. Look at this. I haven't seen this video yet. It looks a little bit broader, but we'll see if there's actually room to move around. Because is he in a party?
More importantly, though, it looks so smooth.
Yeah.
Like the controls are pretty.
Look at that.
standard.
That looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, I can't. And this shows you, just like we had a conversation before about the differences between, say, like your aunt and you when it comes to keyboards. I can't use a smartphone and play a game like this. I just suck at it. I haven't played many games like it, and that's probably my problem. But I'm not
You
built
have
for
to
it.
adapt.
Most
people aren't willing.
Exactly, you're on even footing now, Gumbo, with new players, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, you're right.
Imagine how confused a new player feels on a keyboard.
You know,
right?
I know. I understand how, say, my dad would feel trying to use my computer to play a game when I try and play a mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, when it requires, I could play Candy Crush, no problem. But something like this where it requires more finesse.
There's something weird about. Maybe I'm not used to it either. Obviously, I'm not saying the problem is with the mobile. The problem is with me. But when I use the D-pad on the left side of the screen, it always feels awkward because I'm used to some actual physical feedback when I'm hitting a key or if I'm using a gamepad, right? But the thing is, I think we will eventually see they actually already have peripherals for these mobile devices where you have a controller. So I think maybe those might take off for the more serious games. I don't know. More hardcore games.
We're gonna have haptic feedback soon. Like the new iPhone has it with their home button.
Yeah, that's true.
Feedback one.
I like
eventually that'll be built into the screen too, I think.
I really hope it's better than the Steam controller. I know everybody praised it, but I thought the haptic feedback on the Steam controller was awful.
Well, apparently everyone might have praised it, but it never caught on, did it?
No, there you go. That's why critics don't matter.
So there you go. I think you knew best, man.
Called it.
Also, you guys were all surprised by the graphics here for mobile? I've been saying it for a while. I think the average phone when it goes for sale, like in 2018, 2019, will be stronger than the average computer for sale.
You've been saying that for a while, but we haven't really seen games take advantage of that. This is the first game that made me go, wow.
But again, it still looks good, but it's still not like... Give it another year, I think we're all going to be really wowed. Visually.
Sure.
Just graphically,
but this is
everything.
definitely a big step.
Yes.
Like I can't think of a mobile game I've played, and I've played. I guess Mobius Final Fantasy looks nice, but it's all because the gameplay is so limited that they're able to set up this cinematic flair. But that's nice looking.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. I think that's it for the live show. We can talk about some fun stuff in the after show. We got some political drama coming through. I think odds of a Trump victory are declining. But anyway, we'll keep.
I'm actually following it on Google, and
I'm curious too.
It's pretty close. It's
live
close.
time makes it look closer than it actually is.
No, I'll tell you what the actual odds are. A bet on Trump right now pays 9-1. His odds are
Damn, it's
plummeted.
going up.
He fell.
Crazy.
No, he got worse.
He's
yeah.
done though. I mean, obviously. All right, anyway, that's all after talk. Thanks for watching, everyone. Actually, it's down to 7-1 now. It was 9-1 about 20 minutes ago, so it changes every second. But anyway, guys,
Fun.
for the after show later on YouTube, watch us always live
Peace,
at
YouTube.
4
Peace.
p.m. PST,
See ya.
Or just watch it on the archive.
or watch it wherever you want.
That's true, because you get chat in the archive.
But it's better to watch it live. Everything's more fun live. All right,
It's true. It's true. It's raw.
it's raw,
You never know what can
You
unfiltered.
can interact.
You can go
with feedback.
crazy.
Yes. All right, later YouTube.
It's like a Howard Stern show. Someone's boobs are coming out any second.